This is a story I did not know only a few years ago about an unfamiliar war to which a book opened the door. So in telling this lore, I give my apologies to Jill Lepore. Now, with the hinges squeaking, let us take a step in to a place called New England that was once Algonquin, until the English came in and started civilizing. So it's not surprising that there was an uprising. Native on colonist, raising up a clenched fist. Woe before it finishes, all your hope diminishes, and your wishes are no more. Teardrops on an earthen floor. The year is 1674, and the start of Metacom's War. King Philip's War or Metacom's Rebellion. This is a biased story that I'm telling, because those English could read and write, but the Indian side spoke with might, had hands to fight, but could not sleep at night. On land no longer held in common hands by the common man, these English did property demands. And the crude Indian called for help, their obvious savagery proof in itself. So, striving to assist these backward unfortunates, the colonists decided to change the coordinates and help some red men learn to use a pen, and hopefully convert those pathetic heathen. One such case, a ringing success, was a learned man in English dress who studied at Harvard and it always impressed, like when he warned the English at Plymouth about the impending behemoth of attacks planned by one man. So spoke John Sassamon, beware of Metacomet, beware! Beware of Metacomet, beware! He comes without no care, so beware of Metacomet, beware! Now the English, they knew this man, by another name and another frame. See, they took Sachem for king, hey? And Metacom for Philip, okay? But to the Indians, John Sassamon was a traitor. He had sold them out, and death was his equator. So like a car without no Philip or a saddle shorn a stirrup, Sassamon died at Assawampset Pond. 6 feet around him did all a stop. Or so they said, and so hung the heads of those accused at Plymouth. They lose. They died 1 + 2. And yes, the anger rose, yes, the anger rose. Yes, the anger rose, yes, the anger rose. And whose voices were those? Whose voices were those? At Swansea amongst the tall trees, well, Wampanoag or Wampanoag. Take your pick. The people of the dawn, man, they seemed legit. And the colonists tried to strike a deal to get Philip to ease his zeal, to make the Nipmuc kneel, and bring the Narragansett to heel. All of which clearly failed. A thatch roof laden with hail. The Wampanoag went for Swansea, and Plymouth and Mass used the steel, see? But at Rehoboth and Taunton, the attacks went on and on, son. And the Wampanoag were elusive, like catching smoke with a steel sieve. They left Mount Hope for Pecasset, and the Mohegans in Boston asked it, should we come over and help you? Which, in the end, they did do. But across the lands and bogs, still cut the rage of the Wampanoag. Thorough at Middleborough, tough at Dartmouth, and Nipmuc put the pain on at Mendon. It went on and on. But at the peace table in July did sit Connecticut and Narragansett, and Massachusetts kept talks alive with the trenchant Nipmuc tribe. Now Philip had to escape a siege. The will to live and the need to believe kept his feet fleet as he ran from Pocasset. Oh God, as the English harassed him. From the territory where Philip now sat, the Nipmuc went on the attack, and above the town of Brookfield, their arrows and fury wheeled. Now, we have a memory to jog. Some of those Indians believed in God and had listened to Englishmen, the same who surprised them then when they ordered them confined to praying towns, and 7 colonists at Lancaster went down. So 15 Hassan and Messet, whereby Captain Mosley molested, for the death of the 7 lost son, he marched the 15 to Boston. And like a ship suddenly keeled, Wampanoag and Nipmuc hit Deerfield. And Captain Mosley's men, their weapons shook amongst the humble houses of Pennacook. English town silent, Indians too violent. So the same at Deerfield, so the same at Brookfield, so the same at Squawkyog. Now squawk my dogs, squawk my dogs, squawk my dogs, squawk my dogs. Now who is Agog? Who is Agog? Who is Agog? Who is Agog? Well, I am Agog. On Google I trod and came upon it. Said Narragansett, yes, we can sit. Can you believe it? Can you believe it yet? Springfield was distressed. There was nothing left. The Pecumtuck blade deft. Massachusetts of Indian praying bereft. Save the island of Deer had their hands clasped in fear, and rather the shield than the spear the people of Hatfield made that clear. Now Magun Kakwag ain't Hassan a message. Chabana Konkuman got caught the praying ones. James Printer innocent. Come on, Commissioner, unite the English now. Furrow some Christian brows and get the Narragansett. Put it in a pamphlet or a broadside. In the great swamp they hide. And in that same place that December, oh, the Narragansett remember. So in strength and shock did Philip walk, an alliance to stalk in the land of the Mohawk. But fail Metacama he failed. Yes, fail Metacama he failed. His ship of hope done sailed. So fail Metacama you failed. So what you gonna do, Philip, when we just caught adrift? 1-1 Joshua Tift, you Indians we sift. And your collaborators, either now or later, their life on a fader will get those fucking traitors. But blood still spilled by the bucket, Indian wrath on Patuxet, and silence was the answerer. Lifted from Lancaster, they took Roland's son. For merry no fun, Nipmucks have won, Lancaster done. And in Boston? Well, there rang the echoes, bloody like frescoes, heard from the west. Again, nothing left. See, Northampton, no champion. It done got trampled on. Wampanoag and Metacama, wall around Boston. And what a dreadful morning when Nipmucks come touring. Shut up in their garrisons, Medfield felt the terror, sent pain on the plantations. On and on and on and on. On and on and on and on. And what of the fate? What of the fate of the praying ones? The praying ones, them godly Indians, and others come again. Closer and closer, friends. 20 miles from Boston, 15 miles from Boston, 10 miles from Boston. And in March they got rotten. Simsbury and ashes, Marlborough had flashes, Longmeadow gashes, and buried at Sudbury, Nipmuc strong very. Rehoboth was scary, and Providence was destroyed. In Sudbury more noise, but May brought English joy. Mary was free, and so did she flee. Back to the city, back to the city, and sleep, Indian, sleep. At Deerfield you weep. Your blood runneth deep. But others did creep on the flat and the steep, Hatfield like sheep. And from Deer Island to Cambridge, the praying ones had to make a switch. Their situation unfortunate. And living hardly gladly, Indians did badly when they attacked Hadley. Repelled by Connecticut, and what of the rest of it? All those little hopeful bits. Give up your dirty tricks. Your struggle, it's time to quit. Your luck unfortunate. So accept the amnesty, and as men you will be free. Or suffer as Captain Tom, his life does not go on. And in a long arc that extended through Rhode Island and Connecticut, Major John Talcott his focus put. Many Algonquin scooped up and took, and sent his slaves to Bermuda. Your tears have shed, but I'm not through with you. Because in July of 1676, James Printer gave up in Cambridge. And Captain Benjamin Church looked for Wampanoag. At Plymouth, a bitter fight and a hard slog. One last foray at Taunton gave the English a reason to taunt them. You Indians were repelled. White flags you held. Nipmuc surrender well. And bad luck for Philip's wife and son. It was Captain Benjamin Church that got him. And then one day in August, victory sweet like chocolate, Church declared near Mount Hope Neck that King Philip was now dead, and pulled out of the mire to the upland. It was Alderman who had the bloody hands. So, at the end of our chronology, we can't forget technology of letter, word, and sentence, in which no repentance for the death of our brethren, those fallen Indians.